Of December's meeting minutes.
I didn't see any changes. I move we accept them as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay.
Before we move on, I'd like to make a motion that we suspend the rules and move our leak adjustment up to this present time in the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, what I'm showing first is Susie Barnett.
Just want to tell my story. So,
What's your address?
I'm sorry?
What's your address?
My address is 3214 Meadow Lake Drive, Bryant. I wrote down all my bills from January until October, and they were anywhere from $40 to $60. And in November, my bill was $141, and in December it was $258. I called, and the water people came out and looked at my meter and said that it looked fine. There's no signs of any leak. I live alone with my 14-year-old son, and he's with me just part of the time too. So nothing's changed. I have no idea how my bill's this high. I talked to Angela multiple times. I talked to Tim, and he suggested I come here and talk to you guys. Nothing's changed. I have no signs of leaks. I don't even use the water hose. I mean, there's no signs. Mostly just me there. Help.
We do have the consumption report from you, and then I have the dates out of Springwood here, and it does show some really high usage for 1024, 15,000 gallons.
So on 1024?
Well, for that building.
I have no idea what that means. 15,000 gallons. I'm
probably-
a nurse at Baptist. I have to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I work every day. I'm exhausted, and I just want this. So tell me.
It is not a meter that was estimated.
Oh, it's not.
Your usage is about 6 to 7 times of average, I would say, on that cycle. And that was November bill?
Okay, so October was $62, and then November was $141, and December was $258. January 45, 40, 40, 60, 43, 58, 50, 48. I mean, I wrote them all down.
Are you still seeing high
It's
reading?
like a 1,500 square foot house, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. No dripping, there's
And
no.
January's dropped back down to 40?
I don't know what January is.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Oh,
Do we know, like, what my January, what my,
no.
okay, so it's $258 for my December. So right now, my bill says that I owe $383.49. And you had told me to just wait until this meeting to discuss it.
Yeah, you couldn't make it as number again, so I just recommended this one to discuss. Like I said, but it is not it's not an estimated bill.
From the, Angela, did you pull up,
Yes, we got the usage chart right here.
okay, we don't have it in our packet then.
No,
Okay.
they couldn't upload it, it was too big of a.
It was emailed, wasn't it? Is that the one y'all emailed out? Okay.
So is the usage, the high usage at just a certain period of time during the day or night, or what did you see from looking at that?
Very big. Yeah, it was October or something, we noticed there was a lot of high usage. I'm not sure, they have it before, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking through it right now.
So my question is, if you do see a lot of high usage during one period of time, how could it be high and then even drop back down? I mean, they're just trying to use my common sense. I
Well,
mean,
if it's and I know people are tired, but this is sometimes the biggest problem. If you have a leaky toilet, the flapper doesn't seal well, and the water will run continually
Does
until
not.
someone comes in.
And whenever I don't know, I talked to somebody and they asked if I had had anybody out to look for a leak, and I said no, because there's absolutely no signs. And then just speaking with them, I mean, it was over $100 to even have a plumber come out. You have to schedule an appointment. I mean, I was gonna come here and find out what the next step was, because, like I said, I work Monday through Friday. I work almost 10 hours every day. I work in the ICUs at Baptist Medical Center. It is awful, and I need to know just what I need to do from this.
What's the sewer charges? Do we know?
I have this bill. This is the most recent one.
So the most recent one, which would be combined with the other one, says $383.49, but, let's see. That should previous was $258, though. Oh, I'm sorry.
Alan, what did you
I
say?
don't even have it.
Looking at that.
Separate.
Alan, what?
There's nothing, I looked at it on the email today, and I didn't see
Yeah, the
anything
sewer
crazy.
composite one was $70.
That was 124.35, and then the, past due was 258.94. So that's what
Is there any new construction going on close to your house?
So that
It's an older neighborhood. It's off Raymar. It's the Village Green, Meadow Lake.
Okay, I know.
It's an older neighborhood.
Right.
7 or 8.
There's no new houses. or anything.
5, 3,
Tim, is there any way we can put something on there to see, like for the next month, to see if there's gonna, if there indeed is a leak, like a leak detector, something, you know, if she's gone and then there's water running.
If you want us to go ahead and do like we did with the other people and do like a 10-day daily read, just to see if there's some weird fluctuation, but, I mean,
it's reporting.
it's a recording meter, so it's gonna tell us exactly what it says on the register.
I mean, just me living there, we have the Nextdoor app, and there's tons of water issues. Y'all know, I mean, it's all over the place. So I just happen to have fallen in this trap of, and I'm stressed out about it too, because I have to have water, and I'm standing here telling y'all that is, like, I don't have any leaks, don't have any running commodes. I would have had that taken care of. So I feel like I'm in this, what do we do? Who's the
We've
lead?
been out,
Who's the person who makes,
On-
like, or is it all, y'all are, like, I don't even know who you guys are. Y'all the, like, I'm not even, I have no idea, like, this is a water, y'all are all on the water committee?
Yes.
Okay.
people from each ward,
So, what kind of decision, I mean,
When there's a leak, and we know there's a leak, and you fix the leak, then we make adjustments. That way we can do that, but you're one of these that's fallen into the, as we said, the gray area. As much as we really want to do something, I guess about the only thing we could always,
well, I guess I'm wondering, like, if that's what my bill is used to being, it seems like the thing to do would be, I don't know, change out my meter or something, I don't know, but January through October, add them together and get the average and charge me for that in November and December, and then go for the next month, and, I mean, it's just gonna be weird though if it goes all the way back down, I don't know, this is my first time doing this. And then, like, she did have a plumber come out, they're gonna tell you their story, no leaks, they have the same kind of situation as I do. So it's like, can you see, like, what my next bill is going to be like?
Once it gets read, we can look at it.
I mean, up through yesterday, there's no spikes, there's nothing unusual.
So it looks like it's gonna be another 40 to 60 probably. Well, that's really weird then, because you would think it would stay high. I mean, going from 141 to 258, it should just be crawling, or at least staying at the 200s or something. That's even crazier.
Now, November you had $141,
Mhm.
December $258,
Yes, sir.
No, we
and
just-
then it dropped back down after,
I haven't
or
had
we're hoping that it's dropping down.
Looking by those reads, it's
Yeah.
gone back to a usual read. We don't have the reads from November or October.
Did you have a lot of company through the holidays?
No, I've been working every day. I work in the middle of the COVID ICUs every day. In the ER, in the swab station, in the monoclonal, I mean, I'm there every day. Haven't even hardly seen much of my family because I'm a big, floating, contagious person. I'm really not, but
Yeah.
Does anybody have access to your house when you're
no,
not there?
absolutely
They
not.
can't get in?
Nope, me and my 14-year-old, and he is at his daddy's in Maumelle half the time. He takes just one shower a day, just like I do, and
The
He's in
spikes in
eighth
her
grade.
usage, what time of day were they occurring?
We'd have to pull a report
I
from.
can't even
It
imagine.
was emailed, I think, to you guys, I don't have a
It's
computer.
later on at night.
Well, some of
And
them
then-
during the day, but, you know, it's kind of hard to tell.
I mean, the neighborhood's very quiet, there's not kids running around like stealing water from me or anything. I mean, I've thought about all of that, I knew all those questions would be, I haven't fixed anything, you know.
But, you know, this kind of case is what we charge her what her bill has been averaging, and have these other two, 2 months that she had to have a bill, you know, charge her for the average of that, but we don't have that authority, do we?
No.
Or we're just gonna have to.
Well, actually, tell us that that ordinance reads that everybody's entitled to one leak adjustment per year. And then we have the ability to make an exception if something, another leak occurs. But
But when
But if
there's
there's
not a
no
leak,
leak, then we can't adjust
that's what
anything.
Bob and I were talking about before the meeting.
yeah,
I mean, that ordinance doesn't provide for us to do anything.
the only thing we could do here is basically defer her payment, and unfortunately for her, have her go to the council and let her see what the council says. And, you know, if they wanted to make that adjustment like that for it. But that's about all we can really do.
Well, you said your November bill, you got it in November, or it was for the month of November?
I guess, yeah, I got it, and I guess it's the November payment, but it reads, you know, the October.
That's the October usage.
So it would have covered October,
Right, so really it's
October and
October and
November.
November.
Do we have the readings for this period that we're talking about?
I have this with the
Well,
Well, they've
usage.
got hourly readings
The
here.
1024 reading is 6250, and the 1125 reading is 6322.
Did we get a printout of maybe a leak or high usage to where we could leave her a door notification?
We
Yeah.
didn't, there was no alert for it.
No alert.
Because they have to be running for 5 to 6 business days.
That's right,
Straight,
that's right,
without any error.
yeah,
No
that's
hot
right.
tub, no pool, no baths even, I mean, we both just take a shower.
You know, I would say just, you know, definitely no cutoffs here.
No, we,
And see how this bill comes out this month, and if it's the average, and then let the council look at, you know, what happened in those 2 high month bills, and if they wanted to adjust it down to what was normal, then they could do that, and then, you know, basically, we're just deferring those 2 months. I don't know if we have the authority to do that, but I'd say, why not try that?
I think we do.
Sounds good to me. That's my motion then.
I second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Any opposed?
So who's the council?
City
That's not y'all.
City Council.
so you, just having her go to council to plead her case then, right?
No shut off.
No
No,
shot.
we're not shutting off anybody we're working with,
Good.
yeah, no.
What's the most we can, I mean, if council fails to act, what's the longest we can, biggest payment plan we can provide? 6 months?
6 months.
That'd be the other option. And I include that in my motion that everybody's already approved.
Okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah.
I mean, that needs to be put in place right now, and no cutoff, I think.
Right.
And then if council decides to adjust, then they can
If
do
she's
that.
only paying current bills and not the old one, then we don't need to worry about the payment plan yet. Or we don't need to worry about it till we get there, because if she starts it now, her 6 month clock starts now.
So just
So that'll be
wait.
after council.
So I would wait till after.
So right now, she's paying just her average bill.
I haven't paid anything.
Okay,
She'll pay her current bill, but the bill that is in dispute, I have told her and Angela that as we're talking about it, do not pay on it until it gets worked out one way or another.
So if my next bill I get is between like $40 and $60, like normal, pay it.
But no, pay every bill but this high usage bill in question.
Because there's two.
there's two.
November and
November's is
December.
141 and December's is 258. And whenever I called November, you're Tim, right? So you had told me just don't pay
Okay.
until we have this meeting,
We'll go with that.
anything, because you said then it's gonna get all confusing.
Yeah, because like I said, if we go payment plan now, 6 months.
However, now this is just, if you wanted to, you could, I don't know what, the bill that is in question, the 2 months, that's high. If she wanted to pay just so that, now or then, pay those at that
Pay
average.
some of it, you're saying,
At
pay
the
some of
average.
it.
Between the 40 and 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You,
Is that
Sure,
easier?
but I think we get it resolved completely before we have partial payments. and
Okay.
Have payment plans, stuff like that. I think we can come up with a resolution.
that's
all
gonna
one
cause,
without piecing it together.
but it does, you will have to go to the city council and get on the agenda.
It's last Tuesday of the month.
And who does she call to get on the agenda? The mayor's office?
Well,
She can come on as either on the
Public
agenda
comment.
or as public comment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What do I need to do? I need to email somebody or call somebody to get on the
Just-
agenda?
We have
Well,
a,
Lisa's gonna tell,
we have
Lisa
a
can tell her.
council member that will,
Yes.
You're in my ward, want to call me.
So you're gonna give me your card, and then I'm gonna call you, and then I'm gonna get on the agenda for the 25th? Okay, and is that like a 6 o'clock meeting too?
25th.
And it's at,
Here.
it's here.
yeah, 25th.
We're in the same place.
So whenever I get my, okay, so I'm just waiting on that bill. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, next I have listed Hillary Mayberry.
Hello, thank you guys for seeing me. I sent everybody my email. I don't know if you had a chance to review that already. For time's sake, I'll just kind of do a quick, I guess, recap. So ultimately, my husband and I are wanting to pay what we actually used over the past several months since we moved in. We moved in May 5th. New members in Bryant, never had water here before. And whenever we had it set up, I think my biggest frustration with the breakdown in communication is there was no notice of the major rework of the water system, meter reading system that was being put in place. So we had no feedback as to what we were using and what that was actually costing us financially. And so not until we got a bill in October for $1,258. So since then, we have obviously done some investigation. Thank you, Tim, for putting up with me on the phone. And don't have any toilet leaks. Nothing seems to be wrong. It appears to be the sprinkler system that we have that's actually used it, and the water consumption probably is appropriate. However, the sewer charges really are not, because that water never hit the sewer system. So my other issue with the breakdown in communication is that the need for a second meter wasn't really appropriately conveyed to us. My husband asked about it, and he was told that it keeps everything separate, was as far as that conversation went. And so with that information, we didn't know that the sewer charges were what they are here in Bryant, that it's over half of the bill. And so that was part of the problem as well. Ultimately, just trying to figure out how we can reach a middle ground here and pay what we owe. We are people who do that. I'm happy to pay the water portion of the bill today. We obviously are going to get the second meter installed because can't do this anymore. But ultimately, if we had had some sort of feedback in those first couple of months of, oh, running our sprinkler system in this way is gonna result in a $300 or $400 bill, we would have adjusted that, and we didn't have that feedback to know that, nor did we even know we weren't receiving that feedback, because there was no mention of an estimated bill for that time. So I'm just trying to see what options there are to potentially remove the sewer charges on that bill in particular. It's $758 of the bill.
You say you had a major rework.
Or
Yeah, you're talking about the water system.
the water meter reading system that y'all been
Okay.
updating. We never got an actual bill until everything was reset and recalculated up to.
From the old
October.
customer?
I'm sorry?
From the I'm not following.
They're
They got
new-
estimated
They're new
bills
to the city.
when they moved in.
During the time we were replacing the nodes, and they only have a house meter, no irrigation meter, but running an irrigation system off the house meter.
Okay.
So of the 1,258.50, 758.85 is sewer?
Yes, sir. Sewer 758.85.
Okay. And so that remaining balance of roughly $500 represents how many months' worth of usage?
It is what didn't cover in the estimated bills from whenever we started service on, I think it was May 5th through, this bill runs through 9/25.
Yeah, it was like.
So y'all paid all the estimated bills?
Sprinkler
Yes.
system had been ran,
Yeah, they
when we finally was able to get
Can we do
refunded.
went through and they estimated it.
That's how we use.
So do we have enough months to show what their normal usage should be?
This next billing cycle, we should.
I think the usage is normal, it's just the
I
sewer.
have an irrigation meter that charges for sewer.
The most recent bill that, the billing date was 12/11, was for $62.41. And you can see our sewer portion of that is $33.44 is what we probably are gonna use monthly, which is vastly different than what was given
And
to us
you're
in October.
planning on getting a irrigation meter?
Absolutely, yes. And again, if we had understood the purpose of that, and I understand as the homeowners, it's our responsibility to know that information as well. But I think, hey, just a heads up, you're gonna have sewer charges and that's gonna be greater than 50% of your bill on that water would have been helpful information at the time for people who've never had a sprinkler system before.
And she offered, she spoke of compromise, I don't know if you read it.
Yeah, I read the email, I think that's very clear.
Which I thought was a good proposal. Question is, once again, can we do it?
Where's Ashley when we need her?
Well, I think you got the authority to adjust the sewer.
Do we?
To adjust
I mean,
the sewer off.
okay.
But the other,
If they do sign up for the sprinkler bill,
Which
a
that's-
sprinkler thing.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, in
Because that's
that,
the fix to the problem is what I guess I would
Yeah.
say.
in that case, I'll solve this real easy. I move
Well,
the
wait just a minute.
Oh.
Before you do that, I just want to ask a question.
All right.
And make sure that you're aware. Now, Angela, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll get 2 separate bills every month.
Yes, ma'am.
And you will get a bill, even in the wintertime, of a minimum usage, correct?
Unless we
No,
pause
that's
it.
Unless you
turn it off.
Unless you
Yeah.
turn it off
I've
for
done a
that
lot of
period of
reading
time.
about
And
So-
there's a fee for cutting it off and a fee for turning it on in the,
Okay.
$15 fee to turn
Yeah.
on every year, I think.
lot less than you're dealing with right now.
Right.
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure you were aware of all those things, so before,
ma'am.
since
Thank
you
you.
didn't,
If the 5/8 irrigation meter runs about $455 to get originally installed.
I think
Yes.
we run the resolution by Ashley. I think you guys are right, but just to make sure we're in the clear of doing what we're talking about, we need to have Ashley look at the resolution, make sure it's spelled out properly.
Can we make the
Why don't we make a
motion
motion in
pending?
a second, vote on it, and have Ashley look at it, and if something changes,
Contingency on that.
Well, I think our resolution states is if it's a leak adjustment, as long as they have fixed the problem, we can make a leak adjustment.
The meter is gonna,
that's the.
irrigation meter is
The
That's
fix
that's the
is the
fine
meter.
line of adjusting
Correct.
a leak. It's
Right.
not really adjusting a leak, it's
Well-
adjusting a problem.
Well, so
Sounds
a
good to me,
problem,
though.
a leak is a problem.
yeah,
And then
so we
I
can
think
make
if
the
they-
motion
yeah.
now, and then have her review it and come back if we
Sound-
couldn't do it.
Make it contingent on Ashley's review
Okay.
of the resolution.
All right, that's my motion, is that we proceed with her compromise, make the adjustment with the approval of the city attorney. Is that right?
we have a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. Thank you.
Thank you everyone very much. Thank you.
Middle of late June.
Is it open now? Anyone else? Are they on the leak
I
adjustment?
talked to them yesterday and sent you guys an email, so it's a late.
That's the one we got yesterday.
Yeah, they have
Okay.
it right on both.
Go back to that.
We are both here tonight because I didn't know she was gonna get off from work.
What's your address?
9511 Highway 5, North, Lot 13, Alexander, Arkansas. So I currently reside in the home. I took it over from her. This is my mother, Lee Bailey. We're both on the bill that I assume, right? Okay. The problem is when they lived there, her and my father, their bills were about $50 a month. I moved in last year and they were about $70 a month. I also have 2 kids. We basically take a shower or 2 a day. I don't have my kids all the time. I share custody with their father. Our bills on average is $70 at first. Then they started going up around September when it went to 86, October went to 90, November went to 131, December went to 229. I can't remember the lady's name. That was you? Yeah, that I spoke with. I've also spoken with Tim before, to my knowledge. I don't know which Tim, because there's 2. But I've spoken with a Tim before, and I was told repeatedly that I had a leak in my home. After telling them I did not have a leak in my home, and even offering to pay the $250 to have my meter fixed, nothing was done. I then finally got somebody to finally come look at my house to tell me that there is in fact no leak. This invoice says customer came to residence to locate water leak due to a $200 water bill from an average 30. Pulled lid on meter box and meter hasn't budged in 30 minutes of no use of water. Turn hydrant on and read meter. It is working properly. The meter reading device may be faulty. That's coming from a plumber that charged us $105 to come out for 2 minutes to tell me what I already knew.
The meter was recording, and it showed signs of a leak, and that's why me and Tim suggested and recommended for them to do dye tablets in their toilet. Because it had all signs of, on the report,
Well,
that they
now-
did have something going on. Because theirs is reporting.
There were a
I
couple of,
did an adjustment on that account, and not knowing nothing was done, that's my bad.
What adjustment did you give?
I gave her credit for $182.34.
When did you give us that?
When Miss Lee came in the other day and gave me the receipt, I'll let her know.
Because she told me today she only got a $70.
you
Yeah,
told me,
I gave her $182.34
you
credit.
told me on
They
the
put the
telephone you
$73
would do
credit on the account,
70, and I said, that is not enough.
And she said that wasn't enough money. The
Yes, I
182.
did.
But $130-something isn't enough either after 4 to 6 months of being increased. My bill has increased over the last 6 months. I have done nothing different out of the average, normal American person. I take a shower when I get home. I wash my clothes. I don't run the water. I don't even own a water hose. So that's out of the question. I don't even do that.
And
So-
the increase showed around September. We sent someone out in October, because she had called and said her bill was high. So we sent someone out there. They brought back the read, it was correct. And so we pulled it up in Mueller, and that's when it showed it was reporting. And then that's when me and Tim just, that there was something going on. And that's why we kept telling them that they need to check toilets, they need to check whatever you can check. Because
But I have an invoice saying that there is no problem in my home.
Can I say something, please?
But ma'am, I mean, what you said to there, he washed it for 30 minutes, right?
No, she said
And
10
those
minutes.
She just say 2 minutes.
I said 30.
Oh, 30, okay.
30, he washed it for 30 minutes. But if you have some type of a leak, and
The little triangle is when you turn the water off.
well, I want to use the commode because that's one of the notorious parts for everybody. If it leaks, see, that could be during the, maybe when you go to bed at night, the last thing you do, you go to.
So you're telling me that when I take a shower, I'm burning up
like hundreds of gallons of water at one time with one shower? Because that's
No,
what the
no.
meter is telling me.
No, I'm telling you.
When they ran the reports, that's what the meter was telling me.
Can I interject something
Sure.
here? My husband died last year on July 31st, 2020.
Oh, yeah, I forgot this one.
He passed away. We did have 3 large water bills in June, in April, and in September due to having 10 people in my house. So there was a spike in water usage because there were 10 people instead of 2. When he passed away and we transferred the house to her, that's when she started paying the bills. And in October, November, and December is when it steadily increased.
With 3.
It should not be $229 with a plumber, certified plumber, coming out, watching the meter. We have it on video, pull the video if you need me to, where it doesn't move until we turn the water off.
And
The red triangle moves
Yes.
when you turn it off? That's their leak detector.
No, when you turn it on.
When you turn it off, the little triangle spins.
Right, okay.
When you
When you
shut
turn
it
it
off,
off,
it
it stops.
sits.
It's 9511 Highway North, Lot 13, correct?
Yes.
All right, so I have an older usage report. I don't have up to date because I pulled it out of my emails from a little while ago. And they're showing at times this meter recording, here's 140 gallons an hour,
Okay,
180,
again, how can one person,
280,
even 3, taking a shower,
20.
just a shower,
Here's
spend that much gallons?
from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. and it's running 190 gallons, 270, 270,
None of
270,
us were up
210
at
gallons.
that time.
It feels like a commode leakage
Yeah.
to me.
200-some gallons.
It's running in the
But
middle
I'm
of the
telling
night.
you, we had someone come and look at my home.
Did he come in and look
Did
at
he
your
come in and
commode?
check every toilet?
Yeah, but.
Did he come inside and check your toilets?
Yes, he checked everything.
He flushed it and stood there and watched it till it finished, till it shut
The
off?
bubble goes up and it stops running.
How many toilets do you
Just
have?
2. We only have 2 out. It's a
And if you
trailer at
have
that.
water usage at that time, tell me the time again.
It was all over the place, but there were some in the early morning times. Yeah, 12 a.m. to 4 a.m.,
Yeah, nobody takes a 4-hour shower
7
now.
p.m. to
We're
12
not talking about a shower, ma'am.
showers.
We're talking about
The toilet.
a toilet that when you flush it, it doesn't cut off.
Documentation that
But he wasn't there at midnight.
And these are back in October.
See,
when I started complaining, those were back in October, yes. My bill since then has increased twice the amount.
What we could do, you've got dye tablets.
I believe we gave them to you guys already.
No, you have
The
not.
dye tablets? Okay, well, we can do that.
We could do dye tablets, see if there is a bad flap on one or both toilets. And if that's the case, and they would have an actual leak adjustment.
Right.
Then come back and get that adjustment.
Well, they'd have to
And
fix
if
the
we
flappers.
don't, what happens?
Right.
If we don't have a leak, what happens?
The toilets are only one source,
Right, that's true.
so there is other possibilities, but that is a place to start, and that's where we normally start.
Even though, hold on, first of all, let me back up and say one more time. You all forced me, whoever it was, to get a plumber at my house. Now that I've done so, you're telling me that's still not enough?
Yes.
I mean, that, you're essentially telling me that's not enough. Even though I offered to pay the $250 for you to come out and fix my water meter that I feel is faulty or broken in some kind of way to show readings of such a source.
So you're saying change the meter, is that what she's telling, is
I
that what
have
she's
asked for
referring to?
that, and they have refused until I got this plumber's invoice.
How old is the meter in this case, Tim?
I don't have the meter.
I know she's lived there for 13 plus years.
My meter is different from my neighbor's meter.
Is it a Mueller?
I don't know
Yeah,
what
this
it's
is off the
called.
Mueller.
He's
Okay.
not talking to you.
Well, I
Well,
think
she-
we,
Well, can we do both? Can we change out the meter and do the dye tablets? That would answer
I
her
think we
question
need to
of the
do one
meter.
at a time.
What about,
I would start with the dye
I'd
tablet.
do
Yeah.
one at
the
a time.
plumber
really.
says, I know nothing about water meter, so I go on what he says. The meter reading device may be faulty. Does that mean the thing that measures the water, or is that the meter reader that you guys use to read my meter?
It's a recording meter, so the way a node works, and this is the best way I can explain it, is the register houses the information, right? The node is nothing more than the antenna on your car. It just sends us the signal. If you were to go through a tunnel in your car and you had a radio station on, still has a radio station, still has the times, just not getting the signal. So the meter is reporting the numbers that it's seeing on the register.
So could it be
It
crazy?
has nothing to do with the node.
Say again, ma'am?
Usually what we see with meters is they slow down, they don't speed up.
And with
I mean,
the plumber coming out there, if he was out there watching it for 30 minutes, that tells us that you probably don't have a crack in a pipe or something that's doing a continuous leak.
Right.
But there may be an
Does it ever-
intermittent, and usually what that is
A bad
a
flow.
toilet flapper that it will just release and it'll just run water for hours and it'll catch again.
Okay.
And you just have to
You're
catch it
talking
at
about
that
the
point.
flap at the top, or the thing at the bottom?
The
bottom of the
flapper
tank.
in
That
the tank of the
seals,
toilet.
that seals, and then your water fills up on top of it.
Because if that goes, then it's gonna keep, I mean, the water will just keep flushing down through there and it racks up very fast.
With age, as they deteriorate, they don't always go back down and seal like they're supposed to.
Right.
Or they may catch on the side, and if you don't realize it's continuing to run, I had it happen in my house the other
Did your
night.
dad not replace both those toilets last year?
It'll run, it can run until somebody comes in and jiggles it and makes
So
You ever
it.
had to jiggle the toilet handle to get it to
So
stop
yes,
running?
but that was the floppy thing at the top.
That's the thing that we're talking
I
about.
fixed the floppy thing at the top.
No,
And it
it's the
doesn't
one,
leak.
it's at the bottom of the tank. You
Right,
look
I
like
haven't
that,
looked at that one.
That's where the leaks usually occur.
And I'm not saying it is, but it could be just a little mildew in there. I have to
In
clean the
the
mildew off of
floppy
mine.
Those
Yeah.
flappers, yeah.
And it
they
gets underneath
keep
there.
them
I don't
from
know how it
sealing
comes,
properly.
it gets in there, but it does.
I've seen them
And
where,
I don't know if that's it. I'm just saying that could be just a little.
I've seen them where there's just a small leak, but it gets to a point where it resets to start feeling really good.
Consumption report, and it still has, let's see, there isn't numbers as high, but we still have numbers of all hours a day. I mean, sporadic numbers of all hours a day, so.
And I get 2 days a week off, but when I do work, I'm not at home until about 8 o'clock at night.
I
I
think
have 2 jobs.
Well, and some
doing
of
the
the,
dye test would answer that question, if that's in the,
Right,
Hard
but that's
eliminated.
what you told me this was gonna answer. When I went and had this done, that's what you said was gonna answer those questions, and clearly it didn't.
the plumber coming out, unless he went through and checked off every, or both of your toilets and the flappers, I mean, it sounds like, you know, there's some incidents where between midnight and 4, you're getting a high usage report. Everybody's asleep, nobody hears a toilet running. You know, maybe you get up, don't notice the next morning, go to the bathroom, flush it, and it stops.
So again, like the first lady, if the numbers are lower than they've been in the other months, how is that possible? Because I have done nothing different.
I think we need to start with the tabs. We need to get that done to see if there's leaks. And then, if not, we can go look at something else. But I think right now our hands are tied until we can determine if there's any leaks in that toilet. Because it does add up really quick.
yeah, and we're still doing the same, there's no cutoff,
Yeah, right.
you know, that's,
Right.
Not 2021, but 2020.
and man, we're doing the thing where, you know, don't pay that bill right now, we're trying to figure out what's going on, they're not gonna cut it off. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely not. I think she had told
Well,
me
I've
not to
already
pay it
created an
anyway.
account for the 182, that under the assumption of the receipt here, I actually adjusted those 3-month bills.
It's been
So
adjusted
they now
once
have a
already.
credit on their account of 73.45.
A credit?
Yeah, they have a
Yes,
credit on
they
it.
don't owe anything.
They don't-
Okay.
Because I went in and adjusted
Well-
it because I thought the receipt was that they repaired.
we're still trying to figure out what's going on with it. So doing that dye test is just gonna eliminate one more thing.
If you can show that there's a leak and you replace that $5 flapper, then you can come back to us again, because then you have proof that there was a leak.
And
But we've already given it to her.
Well,
yeah.
There's a credit on the
I
account
said if
of
there
$72.
isn't a leak, what are you gonna do?
Well, then that's where maybe we'll have to pull the
Actually,
meter.
technically, I heard it was once a year. This was the beginning of the new year. So if we have.
It's a calendar.
Once every 12 months.
There is an exception in the resolution.
We can make the
We can
exception.
make the exception.
We have the ability to do more than one.
But there is a credit limit account, and what we'd ask is you guys start with this. I mean, we're gonna do everything we can to
So
work
you're
with you
gonna
guys.
give us the date tonight?
Yes, he's got it right here in his hand.
Yeah, and he'll explain how to do it and
Yeah, make,
And everything.
make sure you know how to do something.
So there's 2 tablets in each one of those. You put them in there at night when nobody's gonna use it.
In your tank.
It goes in the tank, and then when you wake up in the morning.
It goes in the back of the pump,
Yes,
you're
in the back
saying,
of the pump, yes.
not in the boat and
No,
not in
no,
the
You
back.
wanna see if there's color in the bowl, you have a leak.
And if there's not, then I call the,
So just give us a call.
just the regular water company.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
Give me
have
your number.
Yellow
It's the
and
regular number.
blue ones, and I'm not
Okay.
sure which color that one is, but if they're yellow, we have one that in the morning we go make it, and flush it. So just be aware there's the yellow ones also.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Any more? We'll return to the agenda. Financial report.
We'll try to get Joy on the line.
Very common,
Hey, Joy, hold on, we're gonna put you on the speaker. We're gonna see how this works, everybody. We got Joy on the speaker, she's actually, hopefully you can hear her over the microphone, so say hello, everybody.
Hello, Joy.
All right, we're beginning to go over the financial report. Joy, do you wanna give us a rundown?
Do they have a copy of what I gave you for December, or do you want me to just go through November?
November, please.
Okay. I don't actually have November in front of me,
Can y'all hear all right?
but I would be happy to take any questions and answer them if I didn't already know the answers. If I remember correctly, there wasn't anything really unusual for November. So, did anybody see anything they had any particular questions about?
That ANRC debt payment, is that our next to last one?
Sorry, I couldn't catch that.
Alan asked about the ANRC debt payment. Is that near our last one, or is it the next to last?
Oh, no. I mean, when we refinanced them or whatever, it didn't end them. It just reduced the monthly payments. So, we still have, I don't know actually how many more years. But I can send that to the group, and there's a copy of how many more years in the budget book for the debt schedules. But what we did was we actually reduced the rate.
I think it reduced by 1.2% on both water and sewer.
Yes, I think that was correct.
Pretty good savings.
And that will go, the final paperwork to do with that will go at the January council meeting.
Do you know how many more the gray payments we have?
The gray payments? It's either this one that we made this time is the last one or one more.
Okay,
But we're very close to the end of it.
okay, thought we were, but I wasn't sure.
Any other questions on November? I've jotted down those 2 questions about the gray and the debt schedules, and I'll send that out to the group.
Okay.
Did y'all want to go ahead? Ted, did you want to go ahead and go over with them what I gave you for December so far?
I think it's still early since we don't have all the, finances back into it. I think it might be better to do that in February meeting.
Okay, sure. But just, to let you guys know, everything's wrapping the year up fine so far, so, the meeting is January 25th, I believe, so, and then I think you guys will meet shortly after that, right, Ted?
Yeah, the first Tuesday of February.
So I'll bring to you guys what I take to council at that meeting and anything unusual, but so far everything's, looking pretty good.
Deal.
Motion approved, November statement.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sheila.
Okay, thank you guys.
All right.
Okay, we'll move into old business, the rate increase reminder.
Yeah, so I wanted to remind you guys, we are going to see another rate, we're going to see this year's rates increase will be on the January bill. So I would expect we will see phone calls again.
More.
Did, Central Arkansas,
Yeah, it's going from, let's see, the water rate, the minimum charge was $13.04, it's going to be $13.69, and then after the 2,000 gallons, it's going from .627 to .658. Which is an increase in the sewer rate also, that is, minimum sewer is $18.57, after 2,000 gallons, .991, and then the sewer rate for this year will be $19.50, and after excess of 2,000 gallons will be $1.04, 1.040.
What's the increase on the average bill?
We haven't done any of these rates on any bills yet.
yeah,
It wouldn't be until the January bill.
Left a couple dollars.
yeah, maybe.
When we send the bill out, or this month's
It
bill,
won't be on the January 14th.
It won't be on the-
We bill 30 days behind us, so it will actually technically be when the bills go out on February the 14th. That's when they'll see the rate increase.
We can do a random sampling of 10 or 15
well,
bills.
I just wanna make sure when they go out, that there's a statement or something in there
Yep.
saying that due to the rate increase, or we have had a rate increase, just so that,
It may seem premature to some people because the rates for 2021 didn't kick in until April, so.
yeah.
There's no way that, on the bill itself, can you add something to that
Yes,
effect?
I'll add it stuff.
Okay, all right, so they can
So
add,
on this month's bill, I technically could go ahead and give them a heads up. In your
okay,
February bill, the water rate increase will be on,
all right.
starting in February.
That would-
The bill will have the new rate schedule, correct?
I need to get that clarified with the production, because, if they've already pre-printed 4 or 5 cases, they're gonna wanna use those up before.
Yeah.
And then if not, they'll wanna charge us a higher rate to reprint them.
Well,
Okay,
this,
get the
if
information out.
we could put it on the statement this month and next month, because if it's in the newsletter,
Yeah, a lot of
Yes,
people don't
sir.
read
A
that.
lot of people say they don't read the news.
that's right.
Well, sometimes they don't read the water bills too, so.
Well, that's,
Get the information out there, the right thing to do, so.
Have we heard from Central Arkansas Water? Are they going to increase our,
Not that we know of yet, I actually have a meeting with them on Thursday.
okay.
That's it for the rate, I just want to remind everybody, I'm sure it'll bring phone calls in, so.
Okay. Water and wastewater specifications update.
It's still very early stages, slow going. We've done one review, most of them very minor updates. We are going to try to amend the E1,
Grinder pumps.
Yeah, the grinder pump section in there to get some more clarity on our end. We'll start by amending that and then slowly look at the rest.
We'll move into new business. Oh, I'm sorry.
Did we finish the rate adjustment?
Well, we went straight to citizens' issues.
Okay, so we'll do this later on. All right.
Mr. Knight, make a presentation to us.
So, as I promised, this is the Energizer Badger. I told you I'd bring you some of the different larger metering groups in, and they presented to us. I figured they could present to you guys also, and we can be in the early stages of taking a look around at what we offer to us outside.
Well, I'm Greg Knight. I'm a salesman for Southwest Arkansas for Henry Utility. Is a sole distributor of Badger meters is what we're selling. He has been selling them since 1998. This is Blake Colbreth. He's the salesman for Henry Utility. And we're going to mainly focus on our cellular system, but we do have a mobile system also. The cellular system will give direct reads to the office. I think it's similar to maybe what you have now. Are you? Okay. Anyways, Badger Meter's been around since 1905. They're not going anywhere. They are one of the larger metering companies. Energy Utility's been around since '79. We have 3 salesmen for Arkansas. We have our own IT in-house, and then the support staff we're based out of Searcy, by the way, which is about an hour from here. Anyways, I'll let Blake start off with a presentation on
Which meter did you say y'all were?
Badger Meter.
Well, I mean the
Cellular system?
LTE-M?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what, as Greg said, my name's Blake Colbert, and I'm gonna try to make this simple and not go over anybody's head or anything. But we're gonna, show you some differences in water meters, because when water meter companies or different brands try to sell you a water meter, today we're seeing a lot of water meter companies trying to sell ultrasonic meters, or maybe it's a mag style meter, that probably don't mean anything to you guys, but it's just a non-moving part meter. And their sales pitch on that is well, it don't ever wear out. It always has an accuracy of 100% plus or minus 3%, which is always the key there. And yes, ultrasonics are great in certain instances. We have them, and we use them, and we sell them. We have sold thousands of them. But when you actually compare that ultrasonic meter to our mechanical meter, which I believe is what y'all are using now anyway, right? Y'all use a mechanical style meter now. Really, it's got to be a pretty fine line to really, as accurate as our mechanical meter is, to compare it with ultrasonics. When you start comparing how much higher an ultrasonic meter is over a mechanical meter, in our opinion, with our experience for what we've sold in the past 10 years since they've been out, it's not worth it to use it for residential purposes, an ultrasonic meter. So that's our opinion. A lot of people, a lot of water managers and a lot of water systems say, no, that's what we want. We want that accuracy, we want it. And yes, it works great, and it picks up literally a drop of water going through a faucet. But again, when you get down to our mechanical meter, we by far, and I don't say this because it's our brand, but we have the most accurate mechanical water meter on the market. And it's been proven through independent test after test after test. So what makes our mechanical meter so good is, one thing is it's and I'm going to go through that in the presentation here in a minute, but it's a disc style meter, which is the same style that y'all use now, but it's a 25 gallon per minute meter. So most of your meters today, all of them actually, are either a 20 gallon per minute meter or less. So what does that mean? Well, it means our chamber's bigger. So our chamber, in the video I'm going to show you here shortly, don't turn as many times per gallon as all of our competitors do. So kind of an example there is if a customer uses 4,000 gallons a month over a 10-year period, our meter is going to turn 4 million times less than our competitors. So you see the wear and tear on our meter is going to be a lot less, which again, when we compare it to the ultrasonics that are supposed to be a 20-year accuracy meter, our mechanical meters we're seeing hold an accuracy
in that 98.5% range up to 15, 16 years. So it's really well. So anyway, when we're talking technology, there's more than just the radio technology that it takes to read a meter. There's the water meter itself. We want a good, accurate, simple water meter in the ground that we don't hear all these complaints that we heard tonight. Because trust me, I've been to a million of these meetings and sat in and heard those. And I think what you'll see tonight that we're going to show you, I think you'll be impressed with how you can handle that in the future with our system. And what I've seen with my experience and years in this too is when the customer can see a mechanical dial, and I don't know what y'all, is yours good? Y'all had digital?
We got some digital, but we
Okay.
have some mechanical also.
So this is a mechanical dial here, just same, just easy numbers. They will believe that more than they will believe this, a digital one. You know, because they'll look at that and they just don't believe, even if that digital was on that mechanical meter, they won't believe it. I mean, and I've seen it a million times. So, again, we're kind of pushing that because if you want something trouble-free, something that's accurate, that's what we lean toward. And with that register or encoder, however we want to terminology or make the terminology, there's no battery or nothing in that. Or if you have a digital one, there is. So on our water meter and the register there's no battery or nothing to go bad. The only battery you have is in the radio itself. So I'm going to shut up on that. I'm going to go through a really quick presentation, show you a few things, and then if this works. Come on, baby. You work or whatever. Set out too long, something out there. Technology.
Well, I thought we were moving that early.
This is not bad, your computer. I don't like Prezi, and it's one of the things that Badger uses. I hate it. Okay. So, I'm not going to go through that. Gary kind of talked about that. That's going the wrong direction. Let me skip some of this. Here we go. All right. So, I talked to you about our water meter. So how does this work? This is a short video.
Badger's disc meters are ideal where there's a low flow rate, making them a perfect choice for residential use. Here's a step-by-step description of that process. Water flows directly into the meter housing. The water first flows through the meter's internal strainer before it enters the measuring chamber. The strainer protects the measuring chamber from damage due to debris in the water. Inside the chamber assembly is a movable disc that's located on a sliding ball guided by a crossroad. As the water flows into the measuring chamber, it causes the disc to nutate, a motion similar to a coin dropped on a table. Notice that the disc does not rotate, but rather wobbles on its axis. Therefore, the space formed between the disc and the chamber wall has a constant volume as it moves around the chamber. The water in the chamber is a fixed volume, or displacement. That's why a disc meter is called a positive displacement meter. The smooth motion of the disc also eliminates the annoying noise produced by some other types of positive displacement meters. As this happens, the nutating disc translates its movement through a magnetic coupling to the register. The water then leaves through the outlet port of the chamber assembly.
So that wobbling is what I'm talking about. We turn, with an average use of 4,000 gallons, we would turn 4 million times less. So that's a lot less wear and tear on our meter. Being a positive displacement meter goes back to, like you said earlier, the water meters don't speed up, they slow down. That only registers the amount of water that goes through that meter. It don't register anything extra. So this is just a kind of a comparison if we was looking at other brands, which this is just showing our specifications. The normal operating range on a half or 5/8 meter, which is your residential meters, is a half gallon to 25 gallons per minute. With extended low flow is down to a quarter of a gallon per minute. That's lower than most others. We will even register lower than that. I mean, we go down into 1/64 of a gallon, but it's just, your accuracy starts falling off as you get lower and lower, but we still have a reading. So, again, this is not a lot of information that you're interested in, I'm sure, but this kind of talks about the different styles of meters. So we've got the disc meters, which is your residential, right here in the first column or second column. Turbine meters, compound meters, those are kind of old, outdated meters nowadays, because when we get into commercial meters, into larger meters, then yes, we do recommend ultrasonic, because your ultrasonic picks up a lot better low flow on those larger meters. So, like I said, we have a place for ultrasonic, but not in the, we just don't recommend them necessarily in the residential side. So, but your low flow sensitivity on a disc meter is excellent, just like, and your head loss is good, so we don't have a lot of pressure loss in our water meters either. We got a lot less than most of our competitors. We actually, by that being a bigger chamber and more, it allows more water to flow through the meter, so your customers could actually use more water accurately because we're allowing more water to come in. So this is the ultrasonic meters, and there's a video, but I'm going to skip it because, again, it's kind of an old video anyway. But this is what our larger ultrasonic meters look like in a 3 and a 4 inch. We also have them in 2 inch. Some of the good things about our 3 and our 4 inch right now, and we're fixing to release 6 and 8 inch also, but this meter has an interchangeable electronics. So this is a 10-year life meter on the battery, but when the battery life runs out, you don't have to replace the whole meter again. My pointer's not working because of the TV. You can actually just change out your register, which has got your battery and everything in it. That comes off, all the sensors and stuff go back in, so you don't have to buy a whole new meter. You'll be able to buy just that component down the road when battery life ends. So that is one thing that most meter companies are going to in the larger meters is this type of technology. They're getting away from, I'm going to skip that video. They are getting away from mechanical meters in that style. You can see here, this is a 5/8 meter residential. And then we talked a little ago about a 1/4 of a gallon. This is 0.08 operating range. Actually, it was a half gallon, 0.08, but with a low flow of 0.04. So, I mean, very good low flow. Picks up, like I said, just a drip. But really where it pays off is when we get into the 2 inch. You take a 2 inch mechanical meter, it starts at 1.5 gallons, half a gallon. But you take it starts at 1.5 gallons, but an ultrasonic will do a half a gallon. So that's not right. That's an ultrasonic. That's well, that's typical. I'm sorry, I got off my train. What I was going to show you was it's on another slide. I got another slide. Is a positive displacement 2 inch meter would actually be at 1.5 gallons on operating range, but on an ultrasonic it's at 1/2 gallon, so it's better. I'm sorry. My thing quit again. There it goes. That's where I was going to show you is, yeah, there we go. So on your disc meter here, 1.5 gallons to 170, but on your ultrasonic it starts at 1/2 gallon. So that's where I'm saying on your larger meters you gain more accuracy on your ultrasonic meters versus your mechanical meters. Let's go through all these little compartments. All right. So again, going back to our ultrasonic, wider operating range on your commercial meters. We got the same wavelengths for going in to replace your other style meters. 10-year battery life. The dual output don't interest you probably. Meets all the UL and fire service applications. Field replaceable electronics, that's a huge deal because, again, large meters cost a lot of money. We don't want to have to replace those after 10 years. We just want to be able to replace a smaller portion of it. Another thing that the larger meters have is they have pressure and temperature sensors in them. So that can come into big play. I think Tim and I talked about this when we met with him before, but with our cellular system, you can actually see the water pressures in those meters through the software. We're going to show you something on district metering that you might even be possibly interested in, is being able to break up your system, your town, with some district meters, and you can monitor what sections of your town does by larger meters just in your main lines. and see if you have mainline leaks that way, but you can monitor your water pressure throughout your system and everything that way too. So that's a great thing. Then an integrated test port, it's got a test port in it so it can be tested in the ground, don't have to pull the meter out to test it or anything like that. So this is kind of a chart showing you how the pressure sensors work. It's got a max pressure and then a minimum pressure. You can set those, so if you wanted to flag it on the dashboard of our software, if you wanted to know when that pressure drops below a certain point or gets above a certain point, that it would tell you. And then it also has a temperature module too. So there's kind of what it looks like in our software. Water temperature, I've been told, can have a play into water quality. So that kind of helps the water guys know what's, that's one of the purposes for the water temperature, being able to be read in the meter. This is a consumption chart here, kind of like what y'all were talking about earlier with the customers. Daily consumption graph with a rate of flow overlay, so you can, I think I got a little better example of that right here. Here we go. So you can put different overlays on this. You can have a temperature overlay. You can have a precipitation overlay, so we can tell you how much it's rained on certain days. We can tell you what the temperature was on certain days by these different overlays. And you can tell a lot of times by that when people actually water their yard, if they don't have a sprinkler meter, or even if they did have a sprinkler meter, you could tell on that meter. But these are hourly rates, but I'm going to show you on our actual software here in a minute how it actually goes down into 15 minutes. But that's kind of what that does. Shows you backflow. Meter had some backflow. Pressure loss, that's what this is. You can see pressure loss went down, pressure went down, backflow was caused. And then this is just where you would set your high-low limits in the software for the pressure. So pressure, I believe, is a really big deal when it comes into the larger meters. This is kind of a comparison chart again on the larger meters. How the 2-inch meters compare across the board. A disc, turbine, compound, and ultrasonic. That's kind of what I was talking about a while ago. Is a disc meter starts at 1.5 gallons, but ultrasonic goes at 0.5 gallon. So again, that's the extended low flow range. That's guaranteed accuracy. It will measure lower than that. It's just not a guaranteed accuracy when it drops below that. It might be 1/4 gallon at 95% instead of 97%. But we have seen them pick up very low on that. We're going to be releasing a newer 2-inch meter hopefully this year that will be along the lines of our larger 3 and 4-inch meters that have pressure sensors and stuff. That's going to be released later on. So I went through that really quick because that's just the meter side of the technology. Like I said, we've got radio technology, but you also have to have the right kind of water meter. And you want the right kind of water meter at your residences, and then you want the right kind of water meter at your commercial meters, at your commercial accounts. And all of that comes back into play on having accurate bills for all your customers and everything, but also just being able to monitor things in an accurate way and getting all kinds of information back. Because that's one thing our software is. Our software is built around analytics. It's built around information. We're going to take 15-minute data on water meters and pour that into all kinds of information to help you manage your water system better. And so talking about what do we want to solve as a water committee, water system, what are your goals? So one thing we've heard here tonight was too many calls leading to field investigation, need timely and correct data for decision making, lack of confidence in the accuracy of water meters, need to account for all the water sold or used, lack of manpower for routine maintenance of the system, too much time spent on analyzing reports, and then customers just might not trust the water bills and understand their usage. One thing our software offers, and I'm going to show you that too, is it offers a customer portal. These customers can see that report they were pulling out tonight, but they can look at it themselves and see that. They can see it on their phone, they can see it on a computer, it can send them a leak alert, it can do all that kind of stuff, and it's very simple. So we are one of the only ones that sell a cellular-based system. Most of our competitors sell collector-based systems that require collectors to be mounted up through your city, that you own that infrastructure, those collectors belong to you, so any maintenance that has to happen to them, you know, most of the time, you're the ones that have to take care of that unless you buy some kind of maintenance agreement with that provider. But anyway, it's just more infrastructure for you to have to take care of. With our system, we eliminate all that because every one of our radios at the water meter is a straight cellular device that's got a cell card in it. It transmits straight to a cell tower, from the cell tower to the cloud, which is where all the data is stored on the cloud server, and then you can log on to that from anywhere. We're going to log on to Sardis. Sardis is one of our customers that's close to you guys. That I'm going to show you what Sardis' account looks like actually on the software. But to put in a data collector fixed network, this is what's required. You've got the cellular or a fixed base endpoint, not a cellular endpoint, but a fixed base endpoint, a data collector. The cellular backhaul, their data collector that they put out here on a tower or whatever, it goes to a cell tower, but it goes from the water meter to their tower, then to a cell tower, then back to a cloud-based format. So what does that entail to install that? Well, they have to do an initial propagation study. So they have to come out and see how many towers it's going to take to pick up in your host town. Then they have to do site visits of available assets. So they have to look at where they can put these assets. Is there a water tower available they can use, or are they going to put it on top of a building? Are they going to have to erect a tower? So you have to search ring area validation. Then they have to rerun a propagation study when they find out exactly where they're going to put these towers. And then they have to install and prep planning for the towers. So you have to put in electricity. You have to prepare for your backhaul. You have to get permits. Then you got the data collector installation. Then you got the testing of the RF network, because that's an RF style network. You know, then you got end-to-end testing of the final testing to make sure everything works. Then you got your ongoing charges. So you got monthly data, hosting, backhaul charges, and subscription fees. We do too. But then you're going to have, you know, annual data collector and maintenance contracts if you elect to do that with the provider that you buy those from. Those collectors have about an 8 to 10 year battery life, so you're going to have a replacement of those. Someone's going to have to go out and climb those towers and replace the batteries or do any updates that need to be done to them. There's going to be outages on those. They're going to get struck by lightning. Something's going to happen. They normally only have a 1 year warranty. And then anytime a firmware update needs to be done to them, sometimes, again, you have to climb the tower to actually do that firmware updates. Just depends. So they normally don't last. 7 to 12 years is about the normal years of a collector. They're not going to last a 20-year lifespan. They're only going to last anywhere from 7 to 12 years. And so you're going to have to replace the collector at least one time, if not 2 times, during a 20-year cycle. So how does ours hook up? Well, you just go stick it in the ground, cellular endpoint. It starts reporting to a cellular network immediately when it activates, as soon as water runs through the meter, and goes back to the software. No having to go out. Now we do a propagation study, cellular coverage analysis, which is what we call it, to make sure we're going to have proper cellular coverage throughout your whole system. And then the ongoing fees, we have a certain fee for each water meter. It's a monthly fee. It's based on your amount of customers. Have we done that to see exactly, are they going to be at the 89 cents? Yeah. Roughly? Okay. So y'all would be at 89 cents a month per customer. So that's, if you've got 1,000 of these installed at one time, then your bill would be on the 1,000 customers. It wouldn't be on, it's just as they're installed and go into use, that's when the charges start coming. So some utilities elect to pass that on to the customer eventually, some don't. It depends how your finances are. Because the customer does get a benefit out of that, because they get the customer portal. So when you figure, is it worth $1 a month to get the customer portal? To me, it would be. But I understand, trust me, I've been to enough of these meetings and I know how customers are. So this is the district metering portion, and it's real short. So how does the district meter area work? Well, you have a water main, you have a boundary valve, you have your master meter, your main meter. Then you have what area that you want to put in a district metering area, 500 to 2,500 accounts as an example here. And then a water meter in that area. So this is a little example where they put a master meter there where the M is. They got valves where they can valve off a certain area. And shows that, you know, here they got 4 different sections that they valved off. What you can compare is, you can compare that one square with the, if you got everything deployed, you can take that master meter and you can compare it with the residential meters or whatever meters are downstream from it. You can compare all that to that master meter. And our software allows you to do that. It allows you to take those certain amount of meters and tag them to that master meter to where, that's where this chart here comes into effect. You can see the supply meters are the dark meter, which is your master meter, and then your demand meters are your lower line there, so you can see your master meter's doing more water than your demand meters are, so you know you've got a main line leak here. Because your supply meter in this example is doing 1,064 gallons versus 857 gallons is what you're actually billing for. So that's kind of how that works. The best part of the program, though, really is just let me show you what our software looks like. Because I think after what we've heard tonight, I think when you can see what our software can do for you and do for your customers, that's where it really plays into effect. So this is Sardis. They are fully deployed now, right?
Whose cellular service do you guys use for Sardis?
For Sardis, we're using both, right?
Yes, it's a mix. They have a lot of low spots.
Is it a Verizon system or is it your own?
Oh, AT&T, we have a partnership with AT&T. We actually sit down at the table with them. Verizon, we actually just say the secondary carrier, but it is Verizon.
Did you guys do like a preliminary look at Bryant and see if
We have not.
We have not yet, no.
We
will.
We get a customer list without names or anything on it, just addresses.
Yeah.
We'll send it to Badger and they'll send it to AT&T and Verizon.
Yeah, we'll get a report back, and there's no charge for that. We just need to get your customer list, your addresses. We don't have to have the customer's names, it doesn't matter. First thing we do is we leave them off if they come, but we take that, send it in, they'll send us back and they say, hey, they've got 100% coverage or 90% coverage with AT&T, 10% coverage with Verizon. The report will tell us what addresses to put each endpoint at. You know, it gets pretty thorough. With y'all, I doubt if we have any issues with AT&T. I don't know. Y'all may have a few spots, but
Strong AT&T or?
Well, the city as a whole uses Verizon service for their, but we still have low spots.
yeah. AT&T is our main provider for a lot of different reasons. Verizon, and I'll just be honest with you, Verizon has their own radio that I don't think they've really gone much with it. A few years ago they were trying, but they wanted to sell their radio on anybody's water meter, basically. But they wanted to be in charge of the fees and all that kind of stuff. And Badger said, no, we'd love to buy your chips, but we want to do the fees. We want our customers just to pay us, and then we'll pay you. And they didn't want to do that, so we elected to go with AT&T. And there were some other reasons we went with AT&T too. AT&T actually landed a big, huge government contract with FirstNet, which was billions of dollars that they have to put up so many towers within a certain amount of years. City of Batesville, I've got Batesville's my territory, and I've got every water system that surrounds Batesville as a customer of mine, about 8 systems. And I've seen 5 towers go up around Batesville, AT&T, in the last 2 years. And it's all because of FirstNet.
This is not 3G, I mean, it's not comparable to 3G.
No.
We don't have to worry about any.
No, and that's goes back to another thing too. We don't even really use, the cell companies have learned or have found out that so many different devices, not just us, are using cellular technology for transmitting the information, that they have set up a portion of their cell towers now for machine-to-machine network. You're probably familiar with that more than I am. But machine-to-machine network is just basically sending a text message, and we're not even on the part of the cell tower that is dedicated for cell phones and streaming and all that kind of stuff. So we're not even on the 5G part of the tower. They've all dedicated a part of the tower for machine-to-machine. So when we say LTE-M, that M stands for machine-to-machine network. Because our earlier ones were LTE. They didn't have machine-to-machine, so we were on that 5G, 4G, 5G, but now we're on that machine-to-machine. It actually gives us a little better signal strength. I have been at spots where my cell phone won't pick up, but our radio will. Because being on that narrower band, we're not competing with all that cell phone traffic, so it does help. But this is what I want to show you. Leaks here, Sardis has got 901 customers with leaks detected. Out of what, 5,000, 5,500 customers? So I can click on that arrow, and it takes me over here. You got everything GPS, it looks like they do. You can see exactly where these meters are at. I could double click on one of those red dots and it would take me straight to that customer, but I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna look at the second customer, because the first one looks like some kind of a commercial business, so it probably is not really a leak, it's probably just high usage. And a system can adjust this to where you don't see they may have a lot of things on here that, it might be a a store with an ice machine that's really not a legitimate leak. If the utility will take the time to go in and set those settings, get those out of there, they can get those so they don't show up on the leak report. But so I'm gonna get rid of all these other meters. We're gonna look at this one customer here so I can show you the chart. And we're gonna go back because we just started a new year. So here's December. And this is by the day. So you can see what they're doing every day there. And if we just want to look, say, on the 10th of December, now we're looking at AM hours. So here's 12 a.m., here's 1 a.m. At 1 a.m., this customer used 150 gallons. So there's something wrong. 132 gallons at 2 a.m. I can double click that again. Now I'm down into 15-minute data. I know how much water went through that water meter every 15 minutes during that AM hour, which is averaging, it looks around 30, there's 46 gallons to 40, 29, 30 to 40 gallons during those times. Probably a leaky toilet like we talked about. When you can show a customer that, in an example like we had tonight, it really, even though they're probably still not going to believe it sometimes, trust me, I know, but.
It's your meter.
With this cellular.
It's your meter that's doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the cellular, the customer themselves can have their own eye on water,
Right.
and it's free. And a lot don't. I mean, a lot of people are not tech savvy and they just don't mess with it. But I've seen a lot of our customers, if they have a leak like this, they might give them that one-time leak adjustment. But next time, just how you log into your account, just set up a leak alert. If water runs continuous for 24 hours, you'll get a text or whatever. You might not use it for 2 years, and it just pops up, and they've saved the 8 or 9 cents a month they paid.
Right, yeah. I mean, but this, we're seeing the portal being used more and more as our times are changing. I mean, we've had this out 6 or 7 years, 6 years at least now. And when we first came out with it, a 5,000 meter account might have 100 people using the portal. And now we're seeing them having, 800 to 1,000 people using it, because the generations are changing and we're seeing the younger generations want that information. I mean, I use it on the electric side. Electric meters have had it out for a long time. I've got it on my house where I can see what's going on, and it's just really nice to have. It's just pretty well unlimited what you can do with this software. It can get over my head, it can get over anybody's head, but this is the simplest thing to look at. If I could have showed those customers this thing here tonight, again, I know they're gonna argue with you back and forth, but look, it's not especially when I can show you that it's a mechanical meter, and it's a mechanical dial, that meter's not lying. That meter does not, if anything, it's gonna stop. That's the only downfall of a mechanical meter, is if a little trash gets in that meter, it would stop. This software will tell you that you'll get an alert on this dashboard, go back to this front dashboard here. I mean, note 404 customers with no recent flow. So they can, Sardis can look at this and see if these are legit no recent flows or whatever. 30 with backflow. I have seen backflow. I have seen, this is not a guaranteed thing, but I have seen being able to look at this and see in this area right down here on the lower left, there's several meters right there with backflow. You might have a mainline leak in that area because it's caused a little backflow in that area. That's not always a guaranteed thing, but I have seen it work like that.
Well, I had a customer today call, he had 3 to go check on, and, looked back, it was December 11th at 2 in the morning, and they had a line break, and so.
It's because of the backflow.
Yeah.
He saw a customer with backflow. Another place this came into real big, our sewer system came into very big play. So just to give you an example, what I think is a pretty good percentage here. This is Sardis, 5,900 accounts. So they got 5,946, okay, they got 24 not reporting out of that. Now, they know those don't report because they're in a bad cell phone area. They got a probably more rural area than you guys do. They understand that, and they're okay. Out of 5,946 meters, 24 don't read, that's not bad.
So if they don't have cell service, then you go out and manually
You
read
have
it?
to go out and manually read those.
It's as simple as that?
Yep. But at 99.6%, pretty good out of 5,900 customers.
Do you make an extension for the antenna to be able to get that up further?
No,
We've had homemade ones made.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
I've got one in the birdhouse now, in Clinton, Arkansas. Yep. I mean, it's.
we have seen if it's in a certain area that they can raise it up a foot or so, maybe somehow, then yeah, we've seen it work. But again, I really don't see a problem here in y'all's area. It's more in rural systems that we see an issue with this.
If we were manually reading 24 meters, nobody in here would ever know.
But
They've had the system on the ground almost 2 years.
On your system, if somebody like parks their car over the water meter, does that cause it to lose signal?
most of the time not. It will depend on the cell coverage in that area.
Yeah.
If it was something that had usual good cell coverage and something like that happened, does the meter hold that data until?
Oh, yeah, until it, and that's like water too. We have a lot of meters. Hampton, Arkansas, Smackover, if they get over the meter, they won't send a signal through that. And yeah, once the water drops down, they've already stored the 40 days.
Yeah, I think 40, 45 days is what the actual radio stores,
Okay.
as far as, you know.
So it won't be lost data?
No,
Okay.
no, it catches itself back up the next time it reports. And these radios report 4 times a day, okay? So 4 times, and 3 of those times are customizable by the utility. So why would you want 3 customizable times? That could come into a lot of different areas. I don't know how y'all do your turn-offs. If a customer came in this morning and said, I want my water turned off, I'm moving today, I want my final bill. Well, you have to send somebody out to get a final reading.
Yeah, I mean, it's not recording.
Okay, with this, I mean, you could have it say, I want it to report between 6 and 8. So it's a 2-hour window is when, because not every meter reports at the exact minute. Okay, we just can't hit the server like that. So between 6 and 8, every meter's going to read. If a customer come in at 9, 10 o'clock that morning and said, I want my final bill, you could go back and get their bill from between 6 and 8 o'clock and call it if you wanted to. I mean, I got a lot of utilities that do that. Then you'll have to send somebody out there you gotta have somebody out to shut the water off, but you don't have someone out to read the meter out. Then the customer can be taken care of, can go to the door, make a work order, go out and shut the water off that day. That's one way of using it. The other way for the reporting purposes of 4 times a day is we do offer a valve meter to be able to shut a customer off. Now this is only available in an ultrasonic, but you could be able to shut a customer off. It is not a 100% shut off. It's a very, I don't remember the exact specs, but it's just like, not very much water at all. It's not enough to shower, it's not enough to take a bath, it's not enough to wash clothes. It's enough to get a drink of water eventually. And we never have gotten a good answer on why it won't do a full shut off, but anyway. They say it's legality reasons, but the way this works is if I tell the computer or the software to shut this meter off, it does it at that reporting time. So if that reporting time is at between 6 and 8, and then it's at 12 to 2, and then it's at 4 to 6, if I told it to shut it off that morning, it's going to shut it off between 12 and 2, whenever that reporting time is. Now, once that meter has a reporting time, it's always that exact time. And you can see that in the software. I can see that meter always reports at 12:31.30 seconds. I mean, it'll tell you exactly down to the seconds what date or what times that meter reports. Once it has its set time, it's always that time. So when I go to turn it back on, then it goes into a window of, I think, every 2 hours. The meter, once it's turned off, the meter goes into a let me back up, I'm getting myself confused, I'm sorry. Turn the meter off, then it goes into, the radio goes, every 2 hours it goes, are you ready for me to turn it back on? So it's asking the software, are you ready for me to turn it back on? So if you told the software to turn it back on, then within 2 hours, it's gonna turn it back on. It don't wait to that next reporting time, it does it within 2 hours, and it does that for 5 days, then it goes back to the normal reporting time. If it hasn't turned back on in 5 days, then it goes back into those normal reporting times. So that's why we report 4 times a day. 3 of those times are customizable, the other one is a Badger set time, which is always in the AM hours. That's for firmware updates, any software updates we have to do, the radios or anything like that. What I was gonna say a while ago, I got off track. Another place that our cellular fixed base network really came into play was last year when we had that really cold spell. And so line breaks and things like that, and people were using water like crazy. Mid-Arkansas Utilities, outside of Cabot, on the backside of Cabot, kind of backside of Air Force Base. They go all the way to almost Conway, very large rural system, about 5,000 meters. He said, I sat at home on my computer, because I mean, I'm logged into Sardis right here, so with cloud-based, you can do it from anywhere. He logged in, he was calling his guys. He said, go out to so-and-so, turn their water off. They're using water and they don't even know it. Go out to so-and-so, turn their water off. They're using water, they don't even know it, you know. So he was sending his guys out to turn customers' water off because he was immediately seeing water usage. As soon as it reported, he was seeing lots of water usage and was able to cut his water consumption down because, I mean, there's a lot of water systems that ran out of water during that. I don't know how y'all did, but I mean.
We did not.
Yeah. Well, y'all get your water from CAW too.
Down very close, they did.
Yeah, but yeah, there were several that did. The city of Blytheville, another large account of mine, and they got our cellular system. They almost ran out of water. But it was a very proactive way to catch things though, and they were able to save their customers a lot of headache and those things. So it's just got all kinds of benefits in that and that. Now, kind of back to Hennard and ourselves, water meters is what we do. We don't sell pipe, we don't sell fittings. We basically specialize, Greg and I do, in our job with Hennard in 2 areas, and that's water meters and gas chlorination, which y'all don't use because you don't buy your water. But that's our 2 things we do. We specialize in gas chlorination, equipment, and water meters. And we spend every day, all day doing that. I travel half the state of Arkansas from Harrison to Crossett. And, Greg covers the western half of Arkansas mostly, except for far northwest. And then we have another gentleman that kind of handles that area up there, because we do have some large accounts up there. We do Fayetteville, we do Springdale, we do Rogers. We deploy Bella Vista with 13,500 cellular endpoints. We've got more radio accounts in Arkansas than any other meter. And that comes into play because this is what we do. Most of our competitors are selling everything, and this is a sideline of theirs, and they'll come in here with their representative from their meter company that's gonna do a big dog and pony show. That's not, I didn't do a big dog and pony show. I probably confused you more than anything with the quick slideshow I did. We just don't do that. We try to keep it simple. We're hands-on if you have problems. This morning, I was at one of my accounts outside of Newport. He's a newer account, had some questions, didn't know how to do some certain things. I went out in the field with him. I spent 3 hours with him freezing this morning in the field and helped him, and then he ended up coming down here to present to you guys. That's what Greg and I do. We're not just salesmen. We're feet on the ground. If you guys have problems, I've been out to customers' accounts. I've been out to their house and with the utility manager and say, Mr. Customer, it's not the meter. I'm sorry, it's not the meter.
Let's get down to brass tacks. What does the 5/8 meter cost?
I've got you all
There's one in there.
quote on the back.
To the back.
Mobile and cellular.
Put a deep in there, yeah. On the top right corner, the first top right corner, if it says an M, that's a mobile read system. It's the inquiry number, top right. So the first 2 are going to be cellular. It's going to be what it costs to get into the system. And as you can see, it's an engagement fee and a billing interface, and you're almost there. And then the rest is just these are prices on, I got a list from Tim on what you guys have for assistance. And that's with the cellular endpoint attached to it.
Okay, and then the component cost,
Yes.
it's in here with this?
Yes.
It's, okay.
Oh,
281 should be your residential.
Yes.
So that's what.
Right here. These are a 5/8 by 3/4 meter.
Mhm.
This is this meter right here, with this on it and with this attached to it. So put this in the ground. And that's the other thing. You can put this endpoint on any meter, and you don't have to wake it up, program it or anything. You just put it on the meter and give the lady in the office or the man the serial number off and attach it to that address. It's very simple as far as setup. It goes a long way if you don't have to.
It's a simple deployment. And it's something that, again, y'all have a system now. It's not something that, if you're not prepared to do 100% deployment at one time, we are very simple to deploy partially, to deploy us in an area that you don't have all radio accounts right now maybe or something, or deploy us in an area that you want to try us or whatever. So it's a very, we don't require you to run any collectors up, so we can just put a meter in the ground and it starts working. And, we have that, I've done that at systems that have a radio account already, or radio system, and they're not prepared to do a full change out, because we are talking a couple $1 million.
The message is proprietary about the data that you export to another file that we can pull into the building. Any kind of software along that line, is it?
No, I mean, it's,
You could go to an Excel file.
yeah, and that's what, I mean, that's part of our disengagement fee and all the setup fees, that the first initial fees is to get all that integrated with your billing system.
Better work with your billing system, make
We'll
something work.
we'll build an interface to where it all works smoothly, and you can pull in our reads, pull in over there, however your other reads are. That's simple. We've got accounts that do that run a couple of different brands, Pacific Bowl more than that.
Oh, yeah.
You can do ours as much as you want. Most billing vendors only allow you to do one billing cycle a month, but you actually want to take it from your billing software to our software multiple times a week, probably with a system of y'all size, because you want to keep our software updated.
Like if you change that meter, you want to
Yeah.
check a little before you that, yeah. And another thing, when they pull bills, it might be the 20th, and you decide, hey, I'm billing from the 15th. It's as easy as just setting the date, and you pull from that date and drop it into billing.
And you provide all the technology we will
Yes.
require with,
Training, everything, that's all included in that first price.
that's on site. We don't have to go to St. Louis to do all that, or,
No, I think he actually did it as,
I did it as a virtual, we can, or,
we could do an on-site training.
yeah.
We have our own, like I said, we do our own, we employ our own IT guy that is Badger certified, so we've sent him to Milwaukee to be trained and all that, so, but he's employed by us. We don't require Badger to come train you, we have our own Badger trainer, so. And that we found to be useful, because as y'all have turnover and need people to be retrained, we can send him in here to retrain people instead of having to fly someone down here from Milwaukee to train.
Yeah. And he's on the phone all day. I mean, if you're somebody, we have a 24/7 tech support in Milwaukee, but a lot of them call him.
Yeah, they like to deal with a guy local.
Yeah.
On your cellular modules there, what's the failure rate as far as surge, lightning strike, thing like that?
No,
I haven't seen you on a surge or a lightning strike.
yeah, I haven't seen that. I mean, as far as a failure rate percentage, I don't know that I have that in writing. I'm gonna say though, probably 1 to 2 out of every 400 or so is gonna have some,
Yeah.
I mean, it's technology. It's not, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that we're gonna put it in and it's gonna work 100%.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I will say this, we pick up your warranties. We'll
Yeah.
take
Well, that was my next question, is if we had a situation where,
that is another place where we're a little different, because most brands, if you, I don't know what you do now, if you're having to take care of your own warranty, you pack them up, send them in.
in shipping.
Yeah, so what we have done at Henry, and we're not the cheapest either, guys. You're gonna have someone come in here and blow us away on the price of a meter, I promise you. We're not the least expensive water meter out there. But again, do you want the most accurate water meter? I can guarantee that. And do you want one that's gonna be here to take care of you? I can guarantee that.
all right, but
It's worth paying for sometimes. But Warranty, let me go into that real quick. So, the encoder here, this has a 10-year full warranty. Okay, this here, on being a mechanical, it has a 5-year accuracy warranty at 98.5%. It has a 10-year warranty at 90%, or 15-year warranty at 90%. But this is not an issue. I promise you, like I said, this is what the city of Fayetteville, Jonesboro, Paragould, Blytheville, Bella Vista, everybody's using this particular meter right here, large systems, because it is an accurate meter. But this has a 10-year full warranty, but there's nothing to go wrong with this hardly, because there's no battery or nothing here anyway. So I don't see any returns on these. Your cellular endpoint has a 20-year warranty. It's a 10-year full 100% warranty. Anything goes wrong with this, that's a mechanical default, not get chopped off with a lawnmower. But battery goes dead, don't report for some reason, modem locks up in it, don't report. For the first 10 years, we're gonna take it back. You're gonna put these over here, Tim is, and he's gonna call up Greg, say, Greg, I need you to come pick up some product. I got some product bad for you. We're gonna take it, we're gonna do all the paperwork, we're gonna send it in, we're gonna pay the freight to ship this back, and then it'll come directly back to you from battery. The second 10 years is prorated. Now, and I'll be honest with you, my boss kills me for doing this, but I don't care. When you get to about year 15, you're better off just to buy a new product, because the proration is about like a battery time. Going and buying a battery, it ain't worth it after 15 years. You're better off just buying a new product, because by the time you pay that proration, you're only getting the remainder warranty even on that new product you just bought. You're only getting 5 years of warranty on something you just paid for. You buy a new one, you get a whole new warranty again. So I hate quoting 20-year warranties, because that's just not.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's a 10-year full, 15 or 20-year prorated, and that includes the network too. You was talking earlier about 5G. What do we got to worry about? This thing, in 10 years, AT&T shuts down the cell towers and changes to some technology that just don't work on in the first 10 years, I got to give you a new product. Same way in that 20-year, it's all prorated over that 20 years, same deal. I got to give you a new product in that time frame.
All right, my next question is on delivery. Just coming out of the transportation industry, do you foresee any problems getting your product from wherever it's made? Where is it made, by the way?
Everything except that radio is made in the U.S. We do make the radio right across the Mexican border. Badger has a plant.
Better than China.
Nogales, in Nogales, Mexico, right across the Arizona border, just for that cheaper labor. But it is.
Well, we have we sell our meters in Mexico too.
Yeah.
Sales meetings, they're there.
The only thing we're seeing right now, the chip shortage that's going on, we are part of that chip shortage. And it's taken us right now about 3 months to get a cellular product. If y'all told me today, I'd love to have 24 of these, it would probably take me 3 months to get 24 of them.
That's not a big deal right now, right? We're nowhere near that point.
We're nowhere near that point. If we ever, or when it would be.
When things were normal?
I mean, we would say, hey, we want to do this, what month we have everything in.
Yeah.
Can't afford it.
When things were normal, we were getting things in 30 days. Because Badger is a build-to-order company, they don't keep a lot of inventory. We keep more inventory than they do.
We've been keeping more because of all this.
Yeah. I mean, we keep tons of inventory in stock. I mean, you call and want some meters, we got them. Cellular endpoints, we don't keep a lot of those in stock, but we do keep some. Again, it's a little harder for us to keep them right now because they're not as available. It's taken 3 months to get them. Verizon takes a little longer than AT&T. That right now is our only issue, is the chip shortage and all the component shortages right now. But if we ever get back to normal on that, which I hope we do someday, Badger does really good on supply chain, really. I mean, they've been, during this whole shortage and stuff, they've been hiring their own planes flying around to get the stuff. I mean, we have been trying to take care of our customers as quick as we can.
And speaking of customers, we have a list in there, of about 50, 60 of them. We have over 70 AMI, MR systems, and over 150 different cities in Arkansas that we sell Badger meters. But you can call any one of those, they'll give you good, they'll give you bad, but that's the water manager, that's the guy, boots on the ground, and he'll give you the.
Well, here's part of our problem, the way I see it. We lost the confidence of a majority of our customers because they don't trust anything we say or do. We've got to have a product that is accurate, works all the time, gives us the information that we can give them, or directly gives them the information as you're talking about, so that if they've got a leak, they know it and they can be working on it at the same time as ours. But we've got some confidence, I mean, we've got to build on that. And we've got to have a product that does it.
I totally understand that, and I believe y'all need a product that y'all can have confidence in for yourselves.
Yes.
I mean, you can call all of our customers on that list, and I guarantee you're gonna call some that's gonna complain about our meter. But I can just about guarantee it's not our meter that's the problem, it's their people working the meters, or not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I have.
Or if they had an issue, did we take care of it?
Yeah, or do, you know, I have a customer, for example, that's been a Badger customer for years, and he went to cellular, and I told him, and that's one thing about cellular, they have to be mounted through a plastic lid. You know, they have to come, you know, they're mounted in the plastic lids, but he called me the other day and said, man, I got 10 of these that ain't reporting, I'm all, and he just gave me a Riemann, and I went out and with his guy. I went down, rolled around with his guy, and every one of them was not through a metal lid, under a metal lid. This is why they're not working, guys. I mean, I can't get a cell signal out through this metal lid.
100% of ours are plastic, right?
99.999.
Yeah, and you can drill a hole in an existing plastic lid. You don't have to have a particular plastic lid. We got customers that just drill a hole, because it's just you can see on that one right there, it's just a very minimal piece that sticks up. You will have someone chop them up with a lawnmower. You're gonna need to have an ordinance for that, I promise you. I've got an example ordinance that the city of Wynn put in, that's a really nice, lawyer-written, good ordinance that they told me that I could share with anybody. But you need an ordinance that customers are responsible for it if something happens to it. I have seen leaves burned on top of them and melted them. I've seen people chop them up. It's amazing how that lid never got hit before, but as soon as you put that on there, they chop the lid to pieces. And, but if we do a lot of this, like I said, we got huge customers and I got small customers. We take pride in what we do, and we recommend you call Sardis. I mean, they're the closest neighbor that's got this system fully employed. You want to?
Oh, I just said I will, I trust Roger Moore.
Yeah.
Say, I know Roger, I can call him and
And, you know, just to make this even more ironic, I mean, y'all probably know this, I mean, they had the exact system that y'all have now, so that they moved away from and moved to us. So, it'll be a similar.
It'll be a good conversation.
Yeah, it'll be a good conversation to have. Any questions? I'll shut up.
I just wanted to verify, the $281 is the meter and the cellular
Yes, ma'am.
component.
Yes.
But the cellular component can be used on another meter if you don't want
Yeah.
to change yours?
Yeah.
So it is in, okay.
Well, it can be used on our meters. Our meter, not like on one of yours.
Oh, okay, so,
They're a twist type connection, so if a lawnmower hits it,
okay.
or if we have, a problem, or if you want to use it on a bigger meter.
So to go to your system, we would have to get both of those components?
Yes.
Okay.
yes. And it always run, I mean, I have no doubt that they have probably a connection that we could, and we've done it before, hook to theirs or an Elster or something. Then when there's an issue, whose fault is it?
Yeah.
Is it ours? Is it their meter? That kind of thing, so.
We don't like mixing and matching. It is possible a lot of the times, because most water meters use the same protocol to send to a radio, but it does get confusing when issues start happening. Another thing I want to mention, and I'm stepping on Greg's toes here a little bit, because he is your salesman and everything, and I think we may have mentioned this with him. We'll have to run this by our boss, but I know our boss would really like to have y'all's account. We had it at one time. I don't know if you guys know that, but we actually had y'all's account. Y'all were a radio read account with us, a drive-by system. And then previous management changed it out. And I don't have a clue why I wasn't here. Greg wasn't the salesman at that time either, so if we won't even go there, we don't know the answers to that. But one thing we can do is we offer a trial with our cellular system. It's 10 meters, it's 10 radios, it's all the software. It does everything except the billing interface. where, you know, you can see the reads in the software, but you can't pull those reads to your building software, okay? They can manually enter them in, but they can't pull the reads over to the building software, don't include that portion. We could talk to our boss and see if he's willing to do this, because he has for some larger accounts at some times, but we might be able to give y'all that. That's about a $3,500 value. It comes with 4 months of no monthly charges. Okay, so we give you this, you get the software that you can see exactly what I'm seeing up here on 10 meters. You can put those, we always suggest putting them at city council members' houses.
Water committee.
We
got some places.
Well, the reason we like to see them at council members' houses, because most of the time they're impressed by them. They're impressed by the software. They get the portal. You do get the portal with the trial. You can play with this, you know, the customer's portal. And you can do more than the 10 meters. I mean, that's what we're offering, or we would be offering if I can get it approved by our boss. And I'm speaking, like I said, I've not talked to him about this, so we would just have to see. He may say no, or I'll split it with him, or I'll do this, I'll do that, I don't know. But, because normally we don't give, the program don't come with the water meters itself, but it just comes with the radios, but I think we can talk him into it. Because I think once you see it and can use it, and if you really take the time to play with it and use it and things like that, I think you will see that you like it. And 99.9% of the time, if we give one away, the customer ends up buying it from us eventually. But after that 4 months, though, that's one thing you have to be clear about in the trial, is after the 4 months, they will charge you a monthly fee for those 10 meters or how many ever meters you ended up putting out. And that monthly fee is actually $3 a month, because you've not done the engagement part of our contract or our program. That's not a contract, but the engagement part of our software. So once you buy that engagement part of the software, and we would have to refigure these figures probably. Actually, we may not. We could probably just do away with. We'd have to figure it out. We may have to refigure some things, but because when you do a starter package, sometimes it changes the percentages of what we get off on certain things. But once you do that engagement, that fee comes down to the locked in 89 cents. And that's one thing on that fee there, we can lock that in for 5 years. So we can guarantee that fee will not move for 5 years. We give a monthly fee of 89 cents for 5 years. And then I think you just did one, and then they did a certain percentage every month after, or every year after that.
Yeah, yeah. Hot Springs Village.
Yeah, Hot Springs Village is another one that we're in, that Greg has landed recently. They just ordered, I think, what, $30,000 worth of stuff to kind of start off with, and they're not doing a full deployment at one time, but he got them locked in at 89 cents for 5 years, and then it goes up like 1-point-something% on year 6, and then 7, 8, and it goes up like a percent every year until 10 years, and then I think they renegotiate at that time or something. So, any questions?
I don't.
If you do, think something, you can call me.
If you are interested in the free trial, let me, Tim, let us know. Y'all can discuss that. If you're interested in that, I'll go see what we can do. I'm speaking for my boss there, and I'm speaking for Greg, and I'll offer that because that comes out his pay.
I've got one more, and I wasn't gonna ask him what I was asking, if someone's gonna lynch me out there at the end. If you read down, for instance, the Badger 6-inch is lead-free, but you don't have lead-free on the Model 25. Is there lead in
It
it?
is lead-free.
It's just not in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of ours pointed that out to me, and
They must, all of our stuff is lead-free. And I think on that quote Greg did, he quoted everything 1 inch and above as ultrasonics.
that is.
Like that, we can, again, we really strongly recommend ultrasonics on the larger meters, but on the residential, I just don't see the bang for the buck. I mean, we've sold enough of them that I've seen too many customer complaints about the digital dials. We have seen, not a lot, but we've seen digital dials lag out. Y'all seen that on the ones you have? The screen's black. It's an LCD screen. It's out here in the middle of a pit. And it gets a lot of heat to it sometimes. They can mess up. Like I said, we don't see it on the commercial side as much. We just always see it on the residential. there's a place for the residential, there might be a place you want to put it on ultrasonic residential, if you got someone you know that has a lot of small uses. I'd recommend it at a convenience store or something like that if I had a residential, or 5/8 tap at a convenience store or something. That would be a place I'd want an ultrasonic. Every household, I would want ultrasonic.
But we've got plenty of systems that have them now.
Yeah.
Sardis, Clinton, yeah.
Heber Springs.
Russellville, yeah.
I mean, we've got, the customer portal is a big thing in Heber Springs, being a resort town. They got people, of course, that live in Little Rock, have homes up there, they're able to see, whoops, I left my water on. You know, it's been a big deal up there.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all coming.
Sorry if I rambled on too long.
No, good. Good information. D&T Media,
Tonight, the city is launching a new website. It's still preliminary, we're still adding information to it. I wanted to give you guys a heads up. Hopefully it goes smooth as can be, but if there's water billing issues, I'll let you know.
Starts at 8 o'clock.
It is much more user-friendly, way more interactive, but my main concern is hopefully everything's smooth on the water bill.
Now, when you say city, you're talking about the city of
City of Bryant,
Bryant?
yep.
So the website is gonna look different when you,
Yep,
Okay.
and everything should, if you guys have used the My Civic or Report of Concern, everything should go smooth, but if there's hiccups, we'll know. And from my understanding, IT does backups just in case.
is Notify Me still gonna work, or would you have to go in there and,
I don't even think Notify Me's been working here recently.
well, I've been getting text about, planning commission
yeah, I
and.
think
Yeah,
something else.
Well, is that Notify Me, is that coming from the My Civic? Is it coming from My Civic or
I mean, yeah.
Civic Plus?
I don't know where the text messages come from, but,
I'm not sure which one, but we are getting a new website. It does look
Yeah,
good.
there will be some transition on that before we go to the Tyler system.
So that's the other part. Tyler has initiated conversations with us about starting to switch the utility billing system. Not that I'm not excited about it, but we have enough issues, so I'm not in a huge rush. I don't want to really switch until I know everything's going to be as good as it can get. So I'm not prolonging, but I'm making the process long to make sure we have things in order. So that's it on D&T.
all right, CAO status update?
Same as last time, we have some projects we'll bring out this year, the guys will be, or the crews will be up in Stivers area, and then some down here on the other side of the railroad, and that'll take up about most of the year. Plenty of supplies on our end for all of this year, and a good chance next year, so we shouldn't have to order anything extravagant.
Saline Regional,
Yeah, so, as of our last meeting, we established our bylaws, and we solidified the group, the 8 members. We've applied for some grants on the county level. Those are gonna look like very, very encouraging. In fact, the Quorum Corp met on this past week, and it looks like the three people that have submitted for them, that ours is gonna get moved on, and they're gonna vote on it here in the next 2 weeks on initially a $10 million allotment for that. So it's looking real good, and then at the same time, we're also applying for some other grants, ARNC money as well. So by midsummer, we may actually be advancing on to full-blown funding on this project, so.
The 10 million for Saline County, is that the maximum they'll give to a?
Well, that was what we submitted for. We
Okay.
felt like it was a realistic number, but there's potential to be
For more.
more because there could be, I've heard numbers like $7 or so million still left on the table
Okay.
if that's available. And so I think that's one of the first questions that may get asked is, you know, once we get awarded 10, can we have more?
Yeah, okay.
All your four important members.
Pardon?
All your four
Oh.
important members advocate.
Okay.
Tyler, user interface update?
That's exactly what we just went over.
Yeah.
About the utility billing side of things.
Okay. Do we really want to talk about the Mueller system upgrade, update?
Well, I mean, no, so you don't, but, I mean, and it's not working. But, the
very slowly. We have 900 nodes left to install, but we have still 3,000 meters not recording. So you do the math there, there's 900 to install, so why aren't they recording? They said 1,700 of them was because of a weak signal. We put up all the infrastructure they asked us to, and then some more. So we're working. The analyst we had through Mueller has got a different position, so now we have a new one.
Oh.
For better or worse, I have no idea. I sent 3 emails last week, never get a response. Sent an email today, said I had a meeting with you guys and got a response. So I guess I'll just use you guys as my scapegoat every time I need to talk to them. So that is that. The bigger side of Mueller right now is, as of December 31st, the customer portal was supposed to be done. Now, I don't know if it has been or hasn't, because I don't log on to it. But Mueller was supposed to reach out to each customer individually and let them know their options, right? That hasn't happened because I've been sent to 3 or 4 different people who said, hey, reach out to this person and they'll tell you what's going on. A gentleman or lady, I'm not sure by the name of Alex, reached out to me today and said, I can help you through this process. Do you have a call? Can you have time for a call today? I said, sure, at your earliest convenience. So, have never.
He didn't say which today.
That's true. So, again, if that system is gone in a way and customer tries to go get on it, water bill is gonna get more phone calls. And I can tell you now, the phone rings and rings and rings non-stop, so.
As far as this gentleman that presented tonight and the one last week, and you said there's gonna be another 1 or 2 that will present?
There'll be one more, it's a company, Neptune, we meet with them next week.
Okay.
They'll give their presentation to us, and then we'll go ahead and look at it, and those are the 3 that would really interest us, but if you guys hear another one, or somebody pops up, we'll certainly look at that also.
Well, I was just gonna say, because I was sitting here listening to him and I'm thinking, okay, now I've forgotten some of the stuff the other guy said, so when we get all the proposals together, well, what I think would be helpful for me and probably city council would be each one, the pros for us and the cons for us as far as, because I know we may want something different than Sardis wants as far as the way they want, for each one of them, so that we can make the best decision, I think, when the time comes. It'd be good to know what's good, what will meet our needs more than one of the others.
Of course, so the way it's working out, Mrs. Myers is aware, they'll present to us down at the department, they'll present to you guys, and then they'll present to council.
Okay.
Metron will be at council this month, so whether we move fast or slow, we're at least trying to find something, this is.
You gotta get it done.
It's got, well,
So,
we
and
got
it's,
money.
I don't care how you cut it, it's gonna be millions of dollars, so we'll have to figure out how to
Yeah,
fund
well,
it.
that's true. But I do think that we need to select one that's gonna meet the needs of the city of Bryant.
Absolutely.
It would
Not,
be nice to do what she said, is reach
Oh,
out
yeah.
on that data once we get all the proposals.
okay.
Out of the 3 that we're talking about, is there one that stands out with you all? Or does each one have their own pros and cons?
I don't wanna say anything, because I want you guys to see it first. I mean, in the end, you guys are the end user of it, so it needs to work for you just as much as us. So I don't wanna put any free.
Okay, that's fair.
December leak adjustments.
There are one on here.
The rest of it, yeah. All right.
Just a few more.
The gentleman at the very end is a water-only customer. He attached a letter in there about how they went on vacation, had to dig up their driveway, and we had the cost there, so by resolution, I think you can.
No, we can't adjust that one.
So, I know sometimes we disapprove across the board, but that is the one now.
Make a motion to approve.
Except for the last.
Except
for the last one.
6930 highway department.
So, and I'm assuming that they all had, well, they got it, you know. Yeah, okay.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve all with the exception of the last one. All in favor? Any opposed? Any other comments, questions? Boy, you put the start quick on that, did you?
I'm hungry. I got a comment for you.
What'd I do?
Don't you go to the city council meetings?
Not all the time.
Well, maybe this next one you could.
Yeah.
And maybe you can get with one of the other councilmen that knows what all's been going on. Anyway, maybe we could get a little more leniency in the ordinance so that we could help these people without sending them.
I agree. I mean, Ashley shut us down pretty good last month. I mean, it's gonna take either getting a new ordinance or modifying that one.
And then there's a precedent that you gotta set too.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be real careful, but I know as a, like the first lady, us sending her off, if indeed there's something we could have done, but here, we didn't help her, her satisfaction was not very good.
Well, but she hasn't had a plumber to check anything. She says there's no leak, and there may not be, but she hasn't had anybody check it. I think the last lady was not willing to claim that there was a leak either, but there appears that there must be something wrong.
Yeah.
So it makes you wonder about the other as well. Is there an issue? Because it went up from 1 month, it went up again. Now, if it's going to go back down, yes, then maybe there's not a problem, but a leak's going to be a gradual thing. So I think we've got to be a
And
little
they don't get
careful.
better or go away.
No. So I think we've got, like you said, a precedent. I think we've got to be careful about giving ourselves too much power and just be willing to do it immediately, because the city has to pay for the water, regardless of,
Yeah, and that's
So
correct.
we've got to we've got to have the money to pay for it.
Angela did give her the credit that she could, based on what she can do, and she now has a $73 credit. I don't know
Yeah.
how much you have more, you have.
I didn't quite understand what her complaint was after I found out she got.
Right.
Then she knew she got $170.
Well, the younger
But
one-
she got a leak.
Yeah.
She's got a leak.
And that plumber looking at your dial
For
for
30 minutes?
yeah, that's not gonna.
Yeah.
Well, then she said he was there for 2 minutes and left.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that.
And one,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
I'll give him the
they-
one if that's not her
Well, you're not gonna be able
brother-in-law.
to please all of them.
And then she, when I asked her if it came in and checked the toilets and all that, she had a funny look on her face. Then she said, oh yeah, but then we really have to. So I think if we give ourselves too much power, we're gonna be in trouble there too.
It's just giving us a little more leniency, to be able to make,
I think we need to, before we give a huge adjustment with no proof that there is definitely not a leak or not a situation, we've got to thoroughly investigate it, I guess is what I'm
I
saying.
will
So-
say that you're not having an irrigation meter and watering your lawn in the sewer charge is weird. So I reached out to some other cities and companies and said, hey, what do you do with this? I haven't gotten any solid responses back.
Well, I think our answer was just to put the irrigation meter in.
yeah, I thought that one, we handled that probably about as good as we can.
I mean,
with
that's the fix to that problem, so,
Well, people who just water their lawn with a hose,
right.
so.
Well, and before we had the leak adjustment ordinance, we used to, like Andre's Place and some of these other new subdivisions that were being built, the builders were out there hooking onto people's houses to water their sod.
Yeah.
So,
I remember my builder telling me to get one because it would save me the sewer.
Yes.
'Cause I didn't know, I never had one before, so I don't remember the city telling me, but I remember the builder telling me that.
Well, I had one question, like the woman we told to come back to the city council meeting, she's got a valid point, it may be a rare instance, but she's a ICU nurse in the COVID-19, is there a situation like that where she could send her stuff to city council, maybe via email or something, and not have to get off work early to come to a meeting?
Well, I gave her my contact information, I asked her to call me, so
Okay.
I'm hoping that I can help her, maybe do some of that for her, so she
Okay,
doesn't have to.
that was my only question, is there may be situations like that.
I mean, like, I even thought about picking up some tablets and dropping off at her house, so she
Yeah,
can.
see if
I've
there's a
done that
problem there.
I've done that in several
Yeah,
residents,
so I mean,
but
I'm hoping she'll contact me and
Okay.
kind of work through some of those things before council. The last four people that came to council, we need resolution, so.
What did you say?
There was no resolution.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Based on what we were told legally that we can do without changing the ordinance. So
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that we've still got to pay for that water. If it went through there, the city has to pay for
Well,
it.
I brought up a
About
question,
wholesale.
wholesale water, and I got a short answer, a very short, I don't know if you were still there. It was no. So, I don't know, I mean, I don't understand, I know there's a wheel cost, as you would say, to get it, even though the wholesale rate.
Yeah, I think,
And our ordinance doesn't state that we can do that.
Yeah.
and I think at any ordinance resolution, every so years you need to look at them. And Shannon, so maybe with the issues we're having, it's time to take a good look at them and.
It's the one that's currently in place, I think, is from 2008.
But that lady, we could adjust her sewer for those 2 months, but, you know, there was no,
The nurse?
yeah.
Yeah, but there's no leak.
Right,
And that's what I'm saying.
That's why our hands are tied.
That's it. We, you know, we couldn't touch it like that. And maybe something like that.
You know,
And it goes up again next month, she's gonna want another one.
Well,
Still have to believe.
Well, and what I don't like is, I mean, the sewer charge is somewhat arbitrary. And for that to be the, you know, she was willing to pay for the water, but wanted to credit on sewer. And, I mean, if we had to adjust it out $80 out of her bill for sewer, I mean, that's a lot of trouble for her to have to go chase $100 or $200.
So can I make a motion that we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Nobody opposed.